Hello guys, welcome to the stream. This is the last ever one on FSX, the very last one, at least for a while anyway. Hello guys, welcome to Cardiff Airport. Now we'll be doing the very last flight on this game on stream. So, you can see we're here at Cardiff Airport. I don't have any sound from the game. I don't know whether that's intentional or not. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and, we're going to be flying with we're going to fly with 0 add-ons today. I have disabled the scenery add-ons that I use for Cardiff. We're not going to use GSX. We're going to use the default pushback system. We can only go straight with that. We can go left and right with the default pushback system, but from experience it breaks the heading bug, so I'm not doing that today. And I want to try that out. You can see this is what the AI do when they push back. They just do that. And yeah, it's a very full Cardiff Airport, actually. We have got Active Sky, actually. So there's at least one add-on. We've got to have weather in there, haven't we? Make it at least a little bit realistic. Go ahead and follow on the battery, and we'll control the APU, see if that works. And you can see here is our little thing here. But yeah, we have to have, you know, some form of weather. And you know what, we're going to use GSX anyway. Let's use GSX anyway. Why not? Why not use GSX? I feel like using it anyway. But you can see we're here in Cardiff Airport. It's not the busiest of airports, really. We've got a few private jets about the place. We've got a Fly2, a few TUIs, BMI babies, you know. Is that a Jet 2 I see over there? Jet 2 do not fly to Cardiff. Or maybe they used to. Cardiff Airport did go downhill a few years ago. But none of these I see are... I don't know, I think that is actually a Jet 2. That's kind of interesting, really. There it is, yeah, Jet 2 at Cardiff, that's mad. Okay, anyway, that aside, the APU doesn't appear to have fired up, so... I'll try putting in some fuel, see if that does anything. Oh, wait, yeah, we would need fuel for the APU. Anyway, that aside, let's go ahead and get our loads in today, actually. So today we're not using SimBrief, we're using Fly UK's load planner, which is done by Fuel Planner. So that's what we're using today, because why not? Let's go back to basics, because the route, remember, I'm not planning a route via SimBrief today. I'm going to plan a route using the default game, because it's a bit of fun, you know? So we're going to have 10,000, or looks like we'll have to have some in a centre tank. So we'll fill up these 2 tanks. I'm positive these 2 tanks are smaller than in the real life plane. But we're taking 2 hours 14 minutes worth of fuel plus an hour and 15 is what we're taking today, and then it'll be 3,000 in the centre tanks. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Click OK. I did enter a number between 0 and... Okay, is it freaking out at me because I entered in 30? Okay, it's now fine with it. Magically. We'll delete the middle cabin. We'll put all the passengers. We have 31,297 pounds of that, and of cargo 4,300 pounds. So 2,150 in both. And there we go. That gives us our weights for today. We're all good. Perfect. And hopefully now the APU might start up. Maybe. Possibly. And there goes the Thompson. Very cloudy here in Cardiff at the moment. It is overcast at 200 feet. That's mad. And we're flying down to Menorca. Weather down in Menorca right now, partly cloudy. Pretty nice then, really. But anyway, let's go ahead and well, I don't actually think we'll go ahead and get GSX set up. I don't know why we haven't got power though. It is a confusing thing, this. We have 169 passengers on board today. Oh, but I have to get rid of that before I can type. There we go. Use Menzies for the handling, and yeah, so I don't exactly know what to do in terms of power. So we had this problem yesterday. It doesn't seem that we can't get ground power, and the APU doesn't seem to do anything for some reason. Like, it literally does nothing. I can't press any of these buttons, so I don't really know what I can do. Who knows? Anyway, I don't know. I think what we're going to have to do is auto-start the engines again. But I think... Well, is our comms working? No, because the comms aren't working, we have to start the engines. We can't not, unfortunately. So we have to start them and then stop them again, basically. Oh! I've just realised the desktop audio was not on. Sorry. My apologies. Luckily, there was nothing to hear yet, because this plane doesn't sound of anything. So we're alright. But yeah, as the engines start, that should provide power to us. Unfortunately, it has cancelled GSX. But we now have power. But yeah, unfortunately, it does appear to have cancelled GSX a little bit. What on earth? No. No. Whoa. I've never heard that before, so there's no VFR. They're not allowing VFR, that's mad. I have to the jetway, silly game. Right, off goes that engine. Boom. And I have to press boarding again. And now, hopefully, now the plane has power, we can actually pick up comms. Right, enter that. And Menzies again. And finally, now, let's get applying an actual flight. So we want to head up here into the flight planner. And we're departing from Cardiff. Echo Golf Foxtrot Foxtrot. We're heading down to LEMH, which is Menorca. And we want to go IFR, High Altitude Airways. This will always say flight level 250. Just knock it up a little bit. And we'll change the cruising altitude based on what is said by there. But you can see there, 804 miles it's going to be. A little bit of a long route, really, for the length of the flight. The length of the flight is meant to be... it's meant to be 794, so it's actually pretty good. But I will delete one of those intersections, because they are looking a little bit in the way. Like that. There we go. That's got rid of that little curve. That saved us probably, yeah, a bit of time. Now, this time here that you see here, this game thinks we're going to go quicker than we actually are, so don't pay any attention to the estimated amount of time on the flight. 791 miles is what we want to pay attention to. And then you can see here, we're probably going to cruise at flight level, we're meant to be cruising at 370, but we're going to set 350, that's generally one of the highest this plane can actually go, believe it or not. And we'll just save it in here. And I'll look at Active Sky now, and Active Sky will, because it's a default flight plan, it loads in, so actually, yeah, we're going to be flying at 370 today. That's where the more favourable winds are, according to Active Sky, so that's what we're going to use. So we're going to go ahead and click 370 now, and save that. And that means now, if I look at Active Sky, I should now see, yeah, most favourable wind. So basically, Active Sky sent me a message saying, like, in the briefing, saying, look, it's quicker if you do this. Estimated flight time's going to be 1 hour and 54 minutes. And Active Sky is normally pretty correct, because all the speeds that are entered in there are correct. So, it's generally pretty good. But we'll go ahead and request IFR clearance now. So we've been cleared flight level 140. And you can see there, so that's all set. The squawk will probably be put in manually by the game. No, automatically by the game, I mean. We can go ahead and get the everything armed and all set up. So runway, I don't know what runway they're using actually. We're not using charts, I remember, for anything. So we want to go ahead and tune the ATC. St. Athan information. No, this isn't St. Athan. They say it's St. Athan, you stupid game. St. Athan is the other airfield. Okay, runway 08 they're saying. I think it's runway 12 here at Cardiff. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the ATC. Something's going a bit odd. But yeah, 120. So we've got, yeah, runway heading on departure. I'm going to set that in there, heading. And we're going to set altitude hold. And remember, very high vertical speed at the start. And, well, that's about it. We should be good now. If we look at our little GPS, which I'm going to have to scale down. Can't find where to scale it down. There's like an exact point you have to hover over there, where you can choose exactly what you do with it. There we go, that's better. Clear all that stuff, put it into rain mode, and zoom in out a little bit. So we're heading to Berryhead. It's actually a departure point from Cardiff in real life. We'll be given vectors out to Berryhead, and then it'll be continue on course. And then from there, it will be vectors into Menorca. That's how ATC in this game roll. Now, in terms of discovering, in terms of, you know, like knowing the ILS frequency for Menorca, it'll be. I need to set it up here. So what we need to do, we need to head into here, and then we need to head to here, where you can see all the frequencies, and we want to click. We want to type in LEMH and enter that. You can see there they have an ILS on runway 01, but they don't have an ILS on the other runway anyway. And basically, so if we get given the ILS runway 01, we need to plug in an ILS frequency of 110.1. So I'll 110.3. That's what we'll get given if we're using runway 01. Down in Menorca right now, I have a feeling they're using they're not using 01, I don't think. The winds are 260 at 7 knots, so they're probably not going to be using runway 01. I won't discover that until we get a lot closer. Of course, it's going to be flaps. It's going to be flaps 5 for departure. And there we go. Obviously, not much to do in this plane. Strobe lights can come on. But yeah, really not much to do in this plane. We can turn off the APU now as well. I don't think it even turned on. But yeah, there's not really much to do here. Just kind of sit back, watch everyone. I don't know. It doesn't look like we had any cargo boarding, so we'll just let them finish with the passengers, and then we should be good. See, it's not that busy on the ground here in Cardiff. It's a little bit busy, but not many. Just nothing actually happening right now. Obviously, we saw the duplicated AI. I said that before. Lovely airport is Cardiff, actually. I mean, this scenery is actually pretty accurate. The airport hasn't really changed, I don't think. But, yeah. because the UK 2000 simulator, like, I got rid of it anyway, but it wasn't, the UK 2001 wasn't even that good anyway, so it didn't really make any difference. I'm going to go ahead and request pushback and departure from here. We're definitely going to go right, I imagine. Or request taxi before we start pushing back. Today we shouldn't see any weirdness with the AI sort of disappearing on us. No, not disappearing, like sticking and getting stuck behind us. That shouldn't happen today. Because of the fact that I have, well, this time obviously today we're communicating with the ATC, the default ATC that is, so there should be no problem. Yeah, I think my mic was slightly quiet. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think my mic was slightly quiet. That's alright. Okay. Yeah, we need to wait for this guy to finish. Also, luckily, you know, that annoyance of the sound disappearing, the game sound disappearing when you click off the tab, that's not going to happen anymore. So I am really excited. This new sim is very good. We'll go ahead and request taxi because you can't request for pushback. So you can see there, we're only 1-2 as I thought. We're just going to plug in the N1 now for takeoff.
We are ready for pushback.
I like to use 96 personally. And then we have the taxi line, so that means we're going to be pushing back to the right, and then taxiing straight. It's always a good idea to have these lines turned on, because the taxi instructions given by ATC often don't fit in with the actual taxiway names. It's the same in the new sim, that they do have a progressive taxi-like feature like this. It's very helpful, because as I said, the full ATC doesn't, any AI ATC doesn't tend to give you the best taxiway directions. This only wants to go left, we have to go right. So we're going to do a quick edit pushback. So what this does, a quick edit pushback, this basically means we can, oh, as I said, I discovered how to use it, so thought we may as well. So we'll put it like that. There is a quick way to tilt this, but I can't remember how. And basically we want the plane, we want them to be pushed back about, say, there. So press Y,
Departure check completed.
and that'll do that.
Bypass pin inserted. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
You see the game's now pushing itself back, and you can see there's also a Fly2 that's now pushing back as well, so that's interesting. But back we go in the direction. Well, I don't know how good this pushback is not going to stick to the lines, because it was a quick edit pushback. I could have got it to like add an extra node in, but one, I've slightly forgotten how to do that, and two, it's not worth the hassle. But you can see there, look, Jersey 282, which is over there, is also being given a taxi clearance. Yeah, this pushback may not react well, but it looks like both engines are starting like they should, which is great. You see, we're being pushed back. I'm not sure how good this pushback is actually going to be. It doesn't look like they're going quite enough. Well, it looks like GSX is going to be able to do it. Just. The game thinks I'm in a reasonable position to request takeoff clearance. Yeah, right. You can see that they've stopped me here, and it's not the best, but it's not bad.
Confirmation for good engine start.
Good engine starts. It's not the best pushback ever, but it's all right. Taxi lights and beacon lights can come on. It's so cloudy here. We're going to be going into the clouds just after takeoff, and you can see there's the Jersey. It shouldn't just taxi straight through us. But I have known the game to do that sometimes, so you never know. Good.
Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
So there you go, back goes GSX, and then we can get moving. Everything's looking good here. So it's a very simple playing this, really. There's not really much to look at now. There's our route. Keep it on that screen. And we're going to be taking off runway heading. And that's about it, really. And we'll be given the altimeter. We're supposed to be, make sure we have the most up-to-date altimeter. And then after that, obviously we'll get given it along our route. And remember, the transition altitude in FSX is 18,000. It just is. So ignore everything that is realistic. And just do that. No TCAS in this thing. You know, can't really see the planes in the area or anything, so nothing too interesting. There's also so many airports. I think we'll turn on waypoints or something. Cause I don't want to look at all those airports. I wish you could just turn it off, but you honestly can't. You have to look at something on that map. Right, off we go then. So initial power is not enough. I'm guessing the wind is maybe disagreeing with our taxi direction or something, because it's taking an awful lot of power, 60% power to get us moving, which is not really right. Again, that's FSX for you. Again, I can't wait for the new flight sim. I really can't. It's gonna be good fun. But never mind. Away we go. We're doing a pretty good ground speed of 12 knots. Remember, ground speed is our taxi speed. Again, they should be the same thing on the ground, but they're not. Why is that on its whole position? Again, that's also a slight bug with the whole continue taxi, hold position, continue taxi, hold position. It's a slight bug that happens quite frequently with the ATC. Just ignore it, really. It's not a massive deal. It's just a little bit silly. But never mind, I guess. It happens. It happens. Anyway, yeah, we're taxiing down here now. And we're heading up to the runway. And we'll request takeoff clearance from there. Get the landing lights on now as well. And the taxi lights off. Yeah, I don't know why they keep telling that Jersey to hold position. It's way behind me, but as I said, you know, it's silly. It's clearly just like constantly running over that little instruction. It's being a bit strange. Oh my word. I forgot how stupid the default ATC actually is. It's really bad at times. It just is. It has no clue what it's doing. It's just gonna keep doing that, isn't it? I can't get a word in. There we go. Stupid. Okay, we've been cleared for takeoff straight away, which is good. It means there's no traffic on approach. And there we go. We'll go ahead and taxi on. There's another Jersey Fly B that wants to be moved. There we go, we've been cleared for takeoff then, so we're going to go ahead and line up on the runway now. And then suddenly stop because of the wind. I know how stupid that sounds, but yeah. Start the clock, reset it, because it's somehow on 39 minutes. And initial power is set, high power, and then N1. Airspeed's live. And we'll go into the cloud pretty much immediately here. Because the takeoff power is now set. 80 knots. And 135 knots, roughly. V1. Rotate, and then V2. And positive rate, gear up. And you can see already in the clouds. That was pretty quick, wasn't it? And autopilot in. And we'll go flaps up now, because this thing gains speed quite quickly. You can see up we go now on this heading. And we'll contact Cardiff departure now. And altimeter is now 2986, slightly changed, so we'll just set that in there. And then we'll go speed mode now as well. And you can see there they want us to resume our navigation now. So this is going to start turning towards the Berry Head VOR now. And you can see we're climbing very quickly here, as we're meant to, really. Oh, it looks like we're just coming out of the cloud now. So it's very thick cloud surrounding Cardiff. We're just out of it now. But yeah, very thick cloud. And you can see now they want us to go heading mode now. They want us to go heading of 215 now for some reason. After giving us resume navigation, who knows why, but the AI does that sometimes. Just because. It's very random, really, the AI in this game. Honestly, the ATC and things, it is totally random. Remember, standard pressure is not at 6,000 as it would normally be in any part of the UK. It's a bit different. Today, it's 18,000 because we're on default ATC. So we're cleared up to 14,000 initially. This thing will struggle to get to flight level 370. We'll probably have to do a very slow climb later on. However, it's very quick at this initial climb up to 10,000. It's very quick. Manchester Centre. I'm not sure if that's totally accurate. I think it should be London Centre in this part of the world, but okay. If you're sure. Yeah, this game is a bit funny sometimes.
Manchester Centre 205 600 climbing 14,000
I'm going to go set new altimeter and go on 10,000, line lights off and VOR localizer. Out we go, and seatbelt signs can now come off. And I'm going to increase the speed to 295 on here. We'll go max speed later on. And this means we need to level off our climb briefly now. Let us bring up the speed a little bit as we climb. We'll also have to hold probably at flight level at 14,000 for a short while, because this game is extremely strange with its altitude things. It doesn't really. Right, N1. We're going to get N1 now to allow us to build up the speed, because otherwise it's not gonna do it. And then we're gonna do probably about like 2,800 feet per minute to start with, and then see where we get after that. And we'll set N1 then. We'll set N1 back to 92,000, no 92% I mean, and that'll allow us to do a pretty good climb percentage then. You can see we're doing pretty well here at 2,000 feet per minute, and this particular climb gradient. We'll bring in 2,900 feet per minute now. We are actually going to have to hold, so we're going to set speed. We're going to have to just wait here, I think. Actually, no, never mind. What I like to do is just past the altitude, because when we pass, you can see here, look, they'll tell us to climb now. Yep, there we go. 260. Right last minute, within 200 feet of our next altitude, they then tell us to climb. It's a bit silly, really, but it's how they do it. It's kind of the best way of doing it, basically. I'm going to go ahead and set speed mode now, and go back to 2,600 feet per minute now. Settle down on the climb, and there we go. Now we're safely in the air above Cardiff, and heading to Menorca. It'll be a long flight, this one, but very long flight in a default aircraft, that's for certain. But never mind. Never mind. So up we go. Pretty quickly at the start. Obviously, as I said, our climb gradient will definitely start to slow off when we get up above 30,000 feet. The speed that this thing can do starts to rapidly decrease. We're looking for a Mach 0.78 cruise for cost index 25. That's what you'd expect with a cost index of 25 that Fly UK use, or Fly2 in this case. It's what you expect, so hopefully we'll be able to do that pretty good. And you see, as usual, this thing's having issues keeping that speed because of the rubbish auto throttle, so we'll just set N2 again, and we'll idle it down to about 89% now, because I don't want this using too much throttle. Don't want it burning all the fuel. But we're climbing pretty good now, about 2,600 feet per minute, so pretty quick climb really. We should reach our cruise pretty well. Maybe a little bit longer than 15 minutes when we get into it, but you can see we're approaching very head VOR now, which is actually a departure point for Cardiff in real life. You can see it's a pretty simple route that's planned for us. It's a pretty good route that this game has planned for us, actually. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to route planning, this game's not bad. Could definitely be worse, but you can see we've got 760 miles left to go, roughly. It's going to be a long flight. But it's the last one in this default plane, so why not? It's the last stream, may as well make it last. You can see now we are actually starting to struggle to keep this speed, so we're going to start to slow a little bit. And I'll also introduce, since the fuel flow goes down as we get higher, I'm going to just enable a slight increase of power to help it. So when it gets to like high performance cruise, this thing does not do great. We're going to set 1,800 feet per minute now, and hopefully that decreased climb will allow it to gain some speed back. And the fact that I have allowed it to gain throttle, but it hasn't really done that, has it? It's doing it very slowly, I think. But you can see now this is where the slow climb starts. And we're going to set up to 27,000 now because we'll probably be given clearance to go higher. Also, we need to set standard pressure. We'll do that now. That was my mistake. Because up here, obviously, you know, past 18,000, it is transition altitude in this game. Again, it's obviously slightly unrealistic, but never mind. Now, the altitude of Menorca is 300 feet, so our barrow is going to be 500. Again, just using, without charts, generally the pretty good way to go about barrow is, generally, if it's an ILS approach, it's always 200 feet, 250 feet above the airport minimums, and then if it isn't, it's normally a bit more of a random number, but generally, if you don't have charts on hand, just a nice safe 200, well for me it's 303, so I've gone with 510, just to be safe, so it's generally pretty good minimums really if you haven't got charts. Obviously we're doing it without charts today, without any sim brief, because well, it's quite a chilled flight this one, it's the last one. This is my last stream on FSX. I probably will play it later in the week on VATSIM and a little bit more, but no streaming or anything like that. So it's you know, just today's Sunday, we have Monday, and then Tuesday is when it gets released. That is it. So it is very close now, this flight sim. You see there we've been cleared higher, up to our cruise altitude now, which is good. And you can see this thing's actually managing to maintain this speed reasonably well. As the fuel flow comes down, I'll allow it to go a bit quicker with the N1, a bit higher. But although it does that so slowly, it's a joke. So yeah, I'll allow it to use a bit more throttle now, because I said the fuel flow goes down as you get higher in this plane. And we'll ease down the vertical speed a bit more. And you can see this is now where, in real life, you know, I think this plane does have slightly better climb performance, but overall it's not too bad. Obviously all planes do start to suffer. I mean, as we get towards 30,000 feet, we can then start to ease the pressure off the plane. because we can then go into max speed mode, which again we do have to adjust all the time, because obviously max speed is a different amount of indicated airspeed depending on the altitude you're flying at, and this plane doesn't adjust that. You have to adjust it yourself. You basically just scroll up and then scroll down, and then the game readjusts itself. It's sort of a bug. It may be a quirk. I don't know. It's a bit unusual. You shouldn't really need to do it, but you do. It's how I can sort of put it. It's just this game, really. It's how this game is. You can see the nearest airspace alert. Being handed off to London Centre now. As we climb up. And you see, when we reach Mach 78, I'm going to punch that in instead. So we'll go ahead and contact London Centre now. They're not going to give us an altimeter, I don't think. Yeah, no altimeter obviously, because also our call sign is actually Skyways 2251. I just forgot to change it inside the sim, which is why they're calling us 2059 if anyone's wondering. Rip. But yeah. But for this works. Obviously yesterday our sim did not have the best of times, if you remember, so hopefully today our sim gets along with us. But you can see, look, our speed now is starting to come up towards Mach 0.78, which is when I'm going to plug in. I'm going to plug in max speed basically then, rather than IAS speed. And we're going to turn this down to about 1300 feet per minute now, because we're starting to lose quite a bit of speed. So you can see this is now where the climb starts to get proper slow. And if I click on this, it'll tell me what max speed that is roughly. That's not true. So we're going to use Mach 0.78, and that's 294 knots right now at this altitude, but that will change all the time. You can see now 293 knots. So as we climb, that will change. But we're going to set Mach 7.8, and we have to basically every now and then just adjust it up, one up, one down, and you can see now it's 292 knots, if you know what I mean. So that's, and unfortunately, I think in this game we're going to set, and we're going to allow it up to full power now because the fuel flow is starting to drip down. As this thing climbs, obviously getting higher and higher. There's the contrail behind us. And the weather down in Menorca, so it's not too cloudy right now. Few clouds at 1300 feet, 27 degrees. Altimeter's 2988, so not bad really. And you can see now, look, it's starting to go into territories of this plane can't do this speed anymore. You can see now it's only 286 knots rather than 292 knots as we get higher. That's how it works. And slowly but surely, this plane will be capable of Mach 0.78. Right now we're doing 7.5, so it will eventually make a difference. But for now, it's just a very, very slow climb, this last bit that we have to do. Currently crossing flight level 330, so only another, 4,000 feet to go. So not too bad, really, given this plane's performance. It is slightly worse than the real life plane, but it's not that much worse, in my opinion. We're going to level it off now to a nice 1,000 feet per minute now. So a very, very slow climb, and it'll take us about 3.5 minutes then. So it's nice and simple, I guess. It allows us to gain a bit more speed as well, up towards Mach 0.78. Because you can see that we're almost at Mach 0.78, which is 278 indicated airspeed at this altitude. And that will continue to come down as we get higher, obviously. We have to keep knocking it every now and then just to make sure it's the correct speed. It's a bit annoying, I know, but we've only got another 3,000 feet, so it's another 3 minutes of climbing, roughly. However, saying that, when we reach Mach 0.78, I may be able to increase the vertical speed a little bit, because it'll be on max speed then, briefly. So you can see max speed 0.78 is now only 274. We need to reach 274 to get to that level. You can see our fuel flow is going down now as we're climbing. Obviously, we're not going quite as quick as the game wants us to be, which is why this plane, this flight is not going to take an hour and 39 minutes straight away. Because this game is kind of silly. It thinks that we're going to do 481 knots ground speed at 24,000 feet. It's not accurate at all, basically. So you can't really trust this game when it comes to that kind of thing. But you can see we're only 5 knots off Mach 0.78 now, so this thing's doing pretty good at just climbing up. But I said normally, you know, we'd match cruise speed at probably about 32,000 feet in the real life plane, you know, in the PMDG. So it's not quite accurate, but it's alright. So we're on to French airspace now, French control. So we haven't got much longer to climb now. They're going to tell us when to descend. We're not going to have a top of descent. I think normally it's roughly between 1,500 and 2,200 feet per minute, the descent. It depends on the vectors they give us. If they give us vectors straight into the airport, then it is almost always a very high rate of descent. But if they tell us to go round and round, the rate of descent, when they tell us to descend, is normally way too early. So basically they tell you to descend based on if you're going straight into the airport, not if you're circling it, which is sometimes what you know, the vectors that they'll give you. It's maybe not the most realistic, but that's what they do. So see now just a few hundred feet more, and then we're at Mach 0.78. So I'm going to set speed in here now, and I'm going to set 260 knots, which is Mach 0.78. Well, I'm gonna do that once we get to cruise actually, and then I'll go back into speed mode then, because it's certainly the best way to do it. Then once you know what speed at that altitude is, it's generally best just to stick with that. So you can see now this thing's starting to slow off now a little bit as we get up to cruise. But it's still got a little bit more speed to gain actually. So you can see our true airspeed, you know, ideally we want a true airspeed of about 460 knots. Roughly that's what we'd want. So it should meet that pretty well. You can see there it is. And we're just going to do that, 257 knots. So that's what we're aiming for now on this flight, 257 knots of speed. And you can see hopefully we'll just meet that pretty quickly right away. Just waiting for it to do that, I think. So you can see now the plane's going to start slowing down. It obviously, as I said, not the best auto throttle in this plane. And then we'll just, now we're up at the full altitude, there you go, now we know it's the correct speed, 257 knots, and now follow that hopefully. So there we go, great.
185, turning left, heading 185.
That's two 185s in one sentence. But you can see now we're above France. We're up at cruise altitude in 19 minutes, so not too bad. Could be better, could be worse. You see now, there we go, there's the plane. And we're looking for a fuel flow of about 2.5 in each engine, roughly. For it to be accurate, see, obviously I have my fuel change, and you can see there it's still actually powering down. It's going too quickly right now, so we just need to wait for that to realise how much fuel it needs to be using. Obviously the auto throttle, as we know, is very slow in this game to react to everything. It's only capable of moving slowly. I don't know why, but it is. It's only capable of moving slowly. Weather down in Menorca right now has not updated. Still a few clouds at 1,300. I'm expecting some new weather in about 5 minutes probably from Menorca. And you can see, there we go, the plane is now fully, in fact it is still lifting off. And so it's very slow to realise how much it has to lift off. unfortunately. Just need to wait and see. There it goes. I think it's reached what it deems pretty good. And there you go. That's nice. Pretty nice fuel flow. 2.7 times 2. That means we're going to be burning 5,400 pounds of fuel per hour. And you can see we have plenty of fuel. We have loads more than that. So 7,400 times 2. Add 1,800. 16,600. So we have enough fuel right now at cruise for 3 hours. Just over 3 hours of fuel. So that's absolutely perfect. That shows that what I've, obviously, like my little fuel fix that I found on the internet and made a tutorial about. If you guys have seen, highly recommend you do go and check it out. Well, if you play FSX still. Obviously, as I said in the video, and maybe it's a little bit of a pointless timing for a tutorial now. But yeah, and I think we'll maybe, I can't wait now for this new flight sim. They're releasing, so literally just 2 days now. It's not long. You can see there, 1 day, 14 hours, 43 minutes, and 56 seconds. It's really not long. I am so excited for this to happen. Now I'm just sitting here waiting. I've been waiting this since they announced it a month ago, like the release date. Since they announced the release date, I've just been really excited. It's almost here, almost upon us. So now we can just I don't really know what we can do actually. I'd rather not just sit here. As I said, unfortunately, one downside with these planes, they're not the most, they're quite boring to fly, really. To be honest, I mean, really. Yeah, there's not really much to look at in here, is there, or observe. I don't know how long we've got left. I think it's quite a while, isn't it? I thought I scrolled it all the way down. I like to scroll it all the way down so I know how long is left. So you can see 654 miles. We've flown 141, so we don't get an ETA, unfortunately, on this plane of where we're going to be at what point. Is that an airfield down there? Is that Jersey? That looks like UK 2000 scenery. I think that is Jersey. Interesting. You can see planes down there. I think I'm too zoomed out to see aircraft. That's flickering like crazy, that scenery. I don't know why the UK 2000 scenery stuff always does that. Always flickers a bit weirdly. From far away, and the heads of Gatwick, it flickers constantly, even when you're landed there.
Turn right, heading 230, descend and maintain flight level 350.
Who knows? Why?
Turn right, heading 230, climb and maintain flight level 350, 4583.
I think I've got an idea for what we can do. Battle speed in Bloom's Tower Defence. I just need to get it set up quickly. Also, we still need to manage ATC, remember, so just need to make sure it's all set up. Okay, the game capture doesn't appear to work for balloons. Interesting. Try to sort this out quickly. I can do another display capture, possibly. There we go. That is now all set up, so balloons should be able to be played now. Cool. Right, now everything's all set up, I think. So we should be good. Is there a way to get my overlays in there too? There we go. Keep all the overlays on there, and there we go. Go outside and then we can have a little look at balloons. Yeah, this is balloons. Tower defense. Obviously, as I said, there's not really much to do on a default flight, so we may as well. I got it quite small for you guys. Hopefully that's okay. Maybe I can make it a bit. I want to see so you can still see the wingtip. There we go. That should be all right. So you can now see balloons. So this is a balloons tower defense battles. It's a very very cool game actually. I like it personally. So just getting all this stuff set up, and then we can go ahead and we're gonna play a few games because I mean I'm pretty good at this game. Really, as I said, there's not much to do, is there? Realistically, in a default plane flight that's 2 hours long, so may as well do something else as well because well we can't really do anything else. Actually, you know what? Nah, never mind. Never mind. I'd rather just play the game honestly. Don't really know what I'm doing. This is the game. Back to the game now. Approaching the DIN VOR, and then yeah, it's a number of VORs. This game does plan an awful lot of VORs into its flight plans. We've still got 617 miles left to go. So we're all looking pretty good. There's not, I don't know, I would like to have a look at what we can explore inside this cockpit actually. So what is here exactly? So we've got, in terms of the 2D panels, oh, hang on a minute. Don't tell me we can control the battery using the 2D panel. Maybe that's why then I've been having issues getting this plane set up. Maybe the, because I don't know, I forgot to check that. But it is quite common where buttons will only work. Also, that instrument panel lighting literally does nothing. But yeah, it's quite often look. So maybe this needs to be set to APU Gen look or Gen 1 or whatever. So maybe that's what I've been doing wrong then in terms of getting this plane set up. Because again, it's quite a common thing in these default planes where the 2D panels. I mean, actually, you know, because Microsoft released a trailer of... They released it just this week. Of basically flight simulators through history. And from 1980, the initial Microsoft Flight Sim 1, right up to FSX, and then on to the new sim. And it is, you know, looking back, FSX was actually quite a big jump as well. Because up until then, most of the games just had 2D cockpits. This was the first proper one to have 3D cockpit, which I know sounds kind of a bit silly, but obviously, you know, you got to remember this game's from 2006. But yeah, and then obviously the new sim is just blown everything away. it's much better than all of that, but it is like, you know, it is kind of a reminder. This game's actually pretty good. It's just old. This game is definitely quite old. But yeah, I think you can check the video out yourself. I think you can just probably search it. It was on I think Microsoft might have posted it on their YouTube channel, but it's quite interesting. But yeah, the only thing about the flight sim, I can't wait for the actual scenery. The scenery itself, I mean, I think, you know, in terms of optimization, the game does need a bit more work yet, and it's very heavy on the GPU. But at the moment, it does appear that if you twiddle around with a few of the settings, it does appear that the new sim will run on most machines. It's like a few games where it's just probably one or two settings that are gonna absolutely kill the game. So we're being handed off to another ATC centre now, so nothing's really gonna happen here. But obviously, it's nowhere near time to descend yet. So we're probably descending about 140 miles from Menorca, something like that. So. So I'll probably on to, I think it's probably like Bordeaux control, and then it'll probably book Barcelona centre then, into Menorca. I don't know how busy it's going to be in Menorca. I don't know. I'll have a look on World of AI's website, because there's actually a thing that you can search that tells you what airlines fly to the airport. It won't tell you anything else. So it won't tell you, like, what times the AI fly there and things. Again, that's another really cool thing with the new sim. With live traffic, they've teamed up with FlightAware to get live traffic. You can actually see what AI is going to be landing and taking off at what time. Which is great, particularly for small airports where you don't know if you're going to see any AI. So you can see here. So it appears that they have visits from Iberia, Jet2, Thomson, SAS, Swiss, Berlin, Europa. Remember, you know, a lot of these packs are quite old, so you know that's why things like, you know, Be My Baby are still there, and things like that. It's why they're still in packs. But it's nice. I was wondering though if I should have maybe done a smaller flight, like a shorter flight for this stream, honestly, because long flights in default planes can be quite boring. I wish I could get rid of those lines though, like, but you can't. The lines of the airspace, unless you zoom out to 150 miles. You see, it's a very simple route for us today, actually. It's quite straightforward. There's Menorca, look. You can just see it in the distance. It's a pretty straightforward route all the way through France, basically. I don't think we're really crossing into Spain that much. So, quite a simple route. We have 40 miles left to the next waypoint, which is Backle. And there'll be a left turn, pretty much just straight from there. The default route planning in this game is not bad. It's very similar to what is in the new sim. It does use airways, but it doesn't really tell you that it does use airways. Kind of interesting in a way. It's a pretty nice little flight, this one, really. Been in the air 35 minutes now. Expecting the flight to be about 2 hours long. Obviously, we're cruising at about 20 knots slower. So I don't know. I'll plug it in now, actually, to Active Sky. That our true airspeed is 454 roughly, and then go into briefing. So the flight length today is approximately 1 hour and 54 minutes. That's without vectoring, so it might be a little bit more. Weather in Menorca hasn't updated. It's 250 at 8 knots. QNH 1012, and cloud's got a few at 1500 feet, so not too bad. Not too bad. Oh, we'll see, you can see that we can set our heading to its active course. There we go. So it looks quite nice. We're just heading straight ahead and then a left turn. I don't know what these like sort of zigzag lines are about. They sort of move across. Like, it's not really a straight line, is it? It's like pixels have problems making straight lines for some reason. Slightly weird, but never mind, I guess. Also, Train Sim World 2 is actually coming out. I also got Assetto Corsa Competizione this week. I've had great fun on that. I was doing some online racing yesterday, and yeah, it was great fun. I got in a battle for 5th place on an online server, and it was absolutely awesome. So, I love the McLaren in that game. The McLaren 720 GTS, no, 720S GT3 is absolutely awesome in that game. It's my absolute favourite car. I am a fan of McLaren, definitely. Oh, go over to another ATC centre now. It's actually quite quiet on here. There's not many ATC, you know, there's not much planes in the area. What's an F90? Thought that might be like a fighter jet or something. So we've got plenty of Beechcrafts. I wonder what Beechcrafts are doing here. Didn't know they'd be here. And then I've got this thing here. Atlantic Air Assistance. So there's quite a bit of ATC in the area actually. Quite a bit of planes. Let's have a little look at. So we've got TAP Air Portugal. We have another TAP Air Portugal. A few Air France regionals. They're these two. That's a cargo plane. This one. And then we've got a few Dash 8s. They're gonna be Fly Bs. So there's quite a nice amount of planes in the area actually. It's pretty nice. Got a nice Ryanair in the area as well. So that's really good. It's really nice. There's a lot of planes. I wish the jetway's connected to the AI though. That would be nice. Like, that would be really nice. But that's about it for the AI that's in the area. Again, you know, there's not really much to do, so just may as well. I've got Transavia as well. May as well just admire AI at this point. 523, what's that? You can't see what. Unfortunately, you can't see like the call signs of all of the air. Well, it's not Fly B because they have a call sign, and it's not TAP because they have a call sign. It's not Air France because they have a call sign. So it's probably like one of the smaller planes or something. I don't think Thompson have a call sign, so it might be them. Again, you can tell how old these packs are because Thompson do not. Well, one, Thompson have turned into 2E, and two, they don't operate 737-300s anymore. You know, I think really one of the few airlines that do still operate 737-300s are Jet2. They still operate them for some reason. I don't really know why they do, but they do. I mean, I don't know how many they have. I'll check on Flight Radar now. But yeah, for some reason, Jet2 do still have 737-300s. It's a bit unusual. Because not many airlines do, outside of Canada, really. Where 737-200s and 300s are more popular over in Canada. They have 7 of them. Still, they still have 7 of them. I'm not sure if they're flying at the moment. But I don't think they're flying right now. Obviously, they're not using full operations. They're doing mostly full operations, but not massively full. So all the 737-300s are probably being left. Yeah, there's no 737-300s being flown by them right now. I've clicked on all of them, looked at their history, and they haven't flown anything. They're using the A320s they have, though. They have 2 of those, although they're not using one of them. Oh, they have 75 737s. They have more 737s than I thought. And then, of course, they have their 757s then. They do those flights too. So yeah, kind of interesting, you know. Jet 2 are a bit different. Like Tui and Thomas Cook aren't around anymore. Unfortunately, again, they're an airline struggling quite a bit. Same with Monarch. There's too many holiday firms in the UK. No one goes on that many holidays. Maybe they do. Who knows? You can see here, look, there's 2 little beach crafts, private beach crafts. All at the same airport as well. See, we're turning left. I haven't even been paying attention to what we're doing. I just haven't been paying attention. I'm like, but looking at air traffic's better. Very exciting to look at here. We're almost out of centre tank fuel now. Obviously, in the real plane, the centre tank fuel probably wouldn't have lasted this long. Although I think in the real plane, it probably would have taken, in real life though, in the real life plane, I think the wing tanks are a lot larger than they are in this one. And also, I think we are taking slightly more fuel than we would normally because we're using fuel planner, which so we're actually taking 3.5 hours worth of fuel today. That's how much fuel we have on board.
Air France 445 Heavy, turn left heading 045, proceed on course.
Turn left heading 045, resume on navigation. Air France 445 Heavy.
You see, we have 38 miles now left to go. It's quite nice out there. If this flight is 2 hours, we'll have to use that. Swapping over the comms. I wonder how Fly2 will react to that. Skytrack. Because I don't know, the comms... Pro ATC wasn't reading the comms correctly yesterday, was it? Although Pro ATC has been very weird. It was not recognising the comms properly on Friday either. And it also decided to then brake on us yesterday. Oh, traffic! Where is that? 2 o'clock. Oh, I see. Embraer. So that's going to be that one there, look. So you should be able to see our plane from another plane. There we are, look. From another plane's view. I really like that you can do that with the AI traffic. It's cool. There's quite a bit of AI in the area then, clearly.
1704, contact Brest Center on 124.8.
124.8 for Jersey 1704.
Jersey 3066, contact Brest Center on 124.8.
124.8 for Jersey 3066.
There's clearly 2 Fly Bs that are quite close together. They're being handed off at the same centre at the same time. They're not duplicated though, they have different call signs. Which is good. I'm not in trouble then. Nothing else in the area really. You can see that now we're starting to see planes being handed off to Bordeaux Centre. That's where we're going to go next. Definitely. There's a Vueling. Or Vueling. However you pronounce it. How does Google Translate pronounce it? This is always a good test of how to pronounce something. So I'll type in Vueling.
Dwelling.
Oh, it says Vueling.
Vueling.
Yeah, that's in Spanish. Okay, apparently they're both Vueling then. Not Vueling. Who knows? think Tower 3D Pro actually calls it Vueling. I don't know, Tower 3D Pro, I mean, I was actually informed by a viewer a few days ago that apparently that the Tiggle's call sign is actually called GoCat. It's really cool. So obviously, you know, something that did get wrong. Maybe I'll actually have a look at that now. Because I don't know, I've seen it pronounced Tiggles on that sim as well. You know, Tiggles, according to Aviation Code's website. Anyway, who knows? I think Tiger have actually gone bankrupt now, haven't they?
With you. Air Portugal 503, Brest Center, roger.
Yeah, Tiger Air are gone, so yeah, there's another. I think Australia's been the worst when airlines going bust, hasn't it? We have 474 miles to Menorca, so yeah, we're not even halfway yet. We're over to Bordeaux Centre, so there's not much to do in these default planes, is there? Or look at. I should have turned failures on to make it more interesting. Oh dear. Program did a failure to happen like an hour and a half into the flight. Like that. Has anyone ever put that? You know the FSX missions? I actually had a go at one a few months ago. Maybe I should have done that as my final stream. But the mission where you're flying over the Indian Ocean and like an engine fails, and then the other engine fails, and you have to get it to land. I actually succeeded it as well, but it's good fun. But they're quite good, some of the missions. I have had a go at a lot of the missions, but a few of them are quite buggy. Like, you have to pass a certain point at an exact altitude that the game doesn't tell you initially unless you use the helper. And I didn't, so the game freaked out and like, wouldn't let me pass this point unless I descended stupidly far. It is like, I think I've tried about 4 or 5 missions. I think I tried like 4, and 2 of them didn't work. Because of the same reason, like, not being able to like trigger a checkpoint because of the altitude you were at. Because the game didn't explain it to you properly. So, yeah. Yeah, FSX missions are not bad. I've got 90 miles to the next waypoint, which is Phuket. If we go to 500 miles, we shouldn't have to see Menorca on here. Yeah, can. So it's pretty much straightforward to Menorca now. Weather down in Menorca might have updated now. I don't know whether it has. Have a look at the briefing. Hour and 54-minute flight, that doesn't change. There you go. So yeah, we have had some. No, the 9:30 weather for Menorca has not come through yet, so who knows? There's always about a 15-20 minute delay, unfortunately, on that, but never mind. So there's not really much, and unfortunately, unlike the new sim, like if you're bored in the new sim, you can just look at the scenery. Yeah, it's not happening in this game, is it? We're not able to look at the scenery, really, are we? We can have a look at AI traffic, though.
Contact Bordeaux Center on
Oh, new ATC.
130.9er, 205.9er. Bordeaux Center, 205.9er, with you, flight level 370. 205.9er, Bordeaux Center, roger.
There we go. I think the new ATC with the new game is going to be even better as well, so... I can't wait to have a little play around with the default ATC, though, definitely. I reckon that'll be interesting. I like how I look at all these planes that we see in the area. There's so many of them. Don't think Iberia operate MD-80s anymore, do they? Does anyone not even operate MD-80s anymore? Like, I'm pretty sure they do, but they're quite rare now, aren't they? Because I think Delta and American have both stopped flying them. Do Alitalia still fly them? I don't think they do. Flight Radar 24 is like the best ever, isn't it? For just searching everything to do with planes. I hope they don't have MD-80s. I know they have MD-80s in this game. But that's obviously, as you know, my airline packs are, of course, very old. So, therefore, they're not really that accurate. So we've got 65 miles to the next waypoint now. We're just making our way along, really. We have 431 miles to go. We've flown 364 miles, so nowhere near halfway as of yet. Oh well. Got another at least 50 miles to we're halfway. Eventually we'll get told to descend by the ATC, but it'll probably be in a while. I don't even know when they're going to tell us to descend, like, in terms of, you know, what? Oh, Brussels Airlines. I don't think they operate 737s anymore, do they? Like, they do not operate 737s, no way. Quite a few Ryanairs in the area, still those same Thompsons and Jet 2s. This might have been the Thompson that actually took off from Cardiff. I didn't get to see where it was getting clearance to, because obviously my engine wasn't turned on at the time. But yeah. Well, Transavia has a call sign. I did not know Transavia had a call sign. Yeah, nothing too crazy in terms of in the AI traffic. The old Thompson plane.
8203, traffic is 2 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 330, Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
8203, pass the Boeing.
That isn't us. That's a different 737, obviously. There's 2 pilots in there. This one's very smiley. I don't assume they move. I mean, I know in the PMDG the pilots move. I don't assume that happens in this one, does it? No. The actual outside, like the actual model quality of this default 737 though is not bad. Like, you know. It's probably not as accurate as the PMDG, but it's not bad. For a default plane, anyway. Oh, bit of a lag spike. What happened there? New planes to look at? No.
Johnson 4530, contact Bordeaux Center on 125.3.
125.3, report to stop at 4530.
Why is the plane suddenly... Wait, why is the plane... Hang on a minute.
12 o'clock.
How did the plane suddenly gain 10 knots of speed? What happened there?
Report them in sight.
Yeah, seriously, does anyone know how that happened? Just look, literally just right click to look at stuff, and then came back, and then suddenly we were doing about 12 knots more than we should have been.
646 is at flight level 2.
Okay.
17, climbing flight level 2.
That's a little bit weird.
36464.
I'm guessing that was just the orbital throttle messing up, right? This plane does, honestly, this default plane does some weird... Actually, I was looking outside, wasn't I? These default planes do some weird things sometimes. Definitely. That's definitely certain. Half 9 weather now at Menorca. 1,500 feet, clouds a few. 1,500 feet, 28 degrees. Pretty normal. Wind is 250 at 7 knots, so probably like a runway. What's the opposite of runway 01? It's 19. I want to say runway 19, or is it? It's not 18 because that would be runway 36. So 3618, so it's 0119. Yeah, I think it's runway 19. It'll be not runway 16. Yeah, runway 19 definitely. The runway 19. So we're not going to get an ILS approach then, because the ILS is only on runway 01, as we saw when we went into here. And then you can see here's all the frequencies for Menorca, so you can see they've got separate frequencies for approach, ground, and tower, and then they've got an ILS. Weirdly, their ATIS frequency isn't on here, which is a bit strange. Well, do they not have an ATIS? I mean, if there's an ATIS frequency, it will be on there. So it's a little bit weird that it is. Lots of airspace ahead. Yeah, there's Menorca. So yeah, everything that's nearest airports, nearest literally everything. It's quite cool, that. And you can view everything about a certain airport, look, and the approaches. It looks like we're going to get probably vectors to VOR, looking at that.
Transavia 6144. Traffic is 10 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 350. Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
I do like, you can see literally like all the information about like all kind of locations. There you go, in fact runway 0119, so it will be runway 19. You can even see how long the runway is, I didn't know that. What does full time mean? It just says full time. It's a little bit confusing. So you can see all the information, look about this, and you can see how much fuel it offers, its elevation. Its elevation is wrong though. That's one important thing. The elevation according to Active Sky is 303 feet, so not 298 feet. I'm not sure how the elevation's changed by 5 feet, but it has. I guess it's actually gone up by 5 feet, not down, so I don't know exactly know. Who knows, I guess. Now you can see there, you can see like, I think that's the tower frequency, and then you can see how long the runway is. The thing is, you could see that, but you can't see the heading of the runway, which is kind of quite annoying. You can't see the individual heading of it, which I would like to know. Obviously, it's quite useful if you have an ILS to write down the to put in the course of the ILS, but you can't do that, which is kind of silly. But whatever, I guess. So I think we'll be getting a VOR. If you look at procedures and then click on that again, the new sim will have SIDS and stars in the default ATC and GPS systems, which is really cool. That's one big advancement. This game only has approaches, but you can see probably a VOR runway 19 today. Also, I have no access to accessing the ATIS until we get told what runway we're using, which is again kind of silly. We're past the halfway point now. I've got 377 miles left to run. Only 9 miles away from Phuket. Hope everyone is enjoying the stream. We're on 107 subs. the Chili Channel. I don't want us to call it that, the Chili Channel. I think Mad Chili's better. It's always been called Mad Chili, but the video introduction was the Chili Channel. But yeah, Mad Chili works. We're moving in the air an hour and 2 minutes, so yeah, you know, this flight does take a while. I reckon it'll be about an hour and 50 by the time we're done. Something like that. Actually, should I try plugging our route into SimBrief? The route that it's given us. See what it thinks of the route. And an estimated time that it'll take us. Because I'm quite interested at that. So our route, if we look at our knee board, it tells us our route. So we can see here that we are actually using Airways today. So BHD, and then it is UN 862 to Dean, UT 180 to Backle. So you can see it's not really able to actually plug any of this in, is it? It's getting quite confused at the route, I think. Oh, it's UT 180. UT 180 not found. That's great. So yeah, clearly it doesn't really know anything. It's very, I think, very old, isn't it? This AirAC data that we're on. I want to know what AirAC this is actually from, though. Like, how old is this AirAC? Seriously, how old is this AirAC? I want to know. Wait, A319. Oh, whoa, that was close. That's an easy jet. That is a bit too close, actually. Again, there's no separation in this game. Just saying that. I'm actually going to plug in our entire route. So BHD. See if all the waypoints exist. Sneeze. Two par. So I wonder how accurate this AirAC even is. Like, how old is it? I want to know how I've tried looking it up. Like, what AirAC does this game run? I haven't been able to find it, but I'm really interested. Like, how old is it? Is it from 2006, 2004, or they updated it since it came out? A lot of waypoints today, actually. I'm going to leave out the last waypoint, by the way, which is Menorca, because that's literally, well, it's literally on, it's right next to the plane. So you can see, it's actually valid for AirAC 2009, this route, believe it or not. I'm not really sure how. I don't assume there is a SID or a star that goes with this. Oh, there is actually. I'm not going to be using a SID or a star though. And then see how long the flight is. So I am quite interested in how it'll make the way. So over to another Bordeaux Centre. It's something to do while we're waiting. 2 hours and 1 minute. This says this flight will take. I don't know how long it. And in the end, we took. This is saying we need 9,000 kilos of fuel. If I convert it to the amount of fuel we took into kilos, it's 9,200. So we actually took the right amount of fuel, really. So that's pretty good.
205-9er with you. 2059er Bordeaux Center, roger. 115. Contact Bordeaux Center on 124.05.
124.05, 1153.
Yeah, what AI have we got in the area now? Oh, an Alitalia 767. Interesting. Another private jet. See, this private jet's all over the place. An Iberia A319, so it's quite a bit in the area. Can't wait to delete all this AI though. There's gonna be so much. There's like so much space on my PC being taken up by this. I actually deleted OMSI 2 as well the other day because there wasn't enough. There was enough. There was like quite limited storage, and I literally never play OMSI 2, believe it or not, anymore. I don't really play it. I used to play it a lot, but not anymore so much. 973 hours I've got on this game, so unfortunately I don't think I will reach 1,000 feet. I'm not going to, no, 1,000 hours. I'm not going to reach 1,000 hours, but oh well.
8209er, traffic is 1 o'clock, 2 miles, at flight level 351, Boeing 737, 47 site.
Someone's created a guide saying flying upside down. What?
Vortex 2, turn left heading 010, resume on navigation. Turn left.
So I someone's created a guide on how to fly upside down, but I guess why not?
Vortex 2.
Just why not? Making a left turn here actually. Over to the Gulf Alpha India VOR and 321 miles. We'll probably be descending about 150, maybe 170 miles. We'll be descending. I don't know. It depends on how long. This thing might tell us to descend 200 miles out when it'll be a stupidly slow descent, or it'll tell us to descend more normal.
90337, traffic is 2 o'clock, 4 miles, at flight level 321, Boeing 757, 47 site. 2851, traffic is 2 o'clock, 4 miles, at flight level 360, Boeing 737, 47 site. 0851, have the Boeing 737.
Have a look at the plane from the outside.
90337, have the Boeing 757 at site. Contact Bordeaux Center on 125.375.
Looks nice outside there.
For 2272.
Cruising along. Out the window. Well, that plane I see heading straight for us. Or is that heading away from us? I think it's heading away from us, good. I think it's heading the same direction as us, I mean. If I was heading straight for us, that maybe would have been a little bit, dangerous? I don't know, what's it doing? Quite a few planes actually around here. You can see that it's turning off right actually. We've got another plane up there. There's quite a bit of AI then in the area. However, there's not that much. What's this? Alex. Oh, Luxembourg. Luxair.
Traffic is 12 o'clock, 4 miles, at flight level 380, Airbus A319, 47 site.
There's an Europa.
Europa,
There it is.
have the traffic. 6040, traffic is 4
Jam.
3 miles.
This one's called Jam.
351, Boeing
Ooh, jam.
737.
I like that. Ooh, tooey.
6040,
They're just taking full advantage of their code for that country, aren't they? That's great. Ooh, jam. I like that.
Center, roger. 5583, contact Bordeaux Center on 120.3. 120.3 for 5583.
My headphones just fell off. Great.
462, contact
Oh, there's a plane over there. That is a Ryanair. They move quite quickly, those AI planes.
0.05, 462.
So I'm not sure how, but our true airspeed is actually gone down by 7 knots.
337, contact Bordeaux Center
How
on
and why?
124.05. Going to 124.05, Niner 337. Board 703, contact Bordeaux Center on 125.375. Going to 125.375,
Approaching, okay, approaching Golf Alpha India, finally. 285 miles left to go, so not far now. Lots of waypoints along this next little bit, actually. My little left turn, little right turn. I could have gone direct to PPG, but whatever.
Altimeter 2995. 5452, traffic is 9 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 301, Boeing 737, 47 site.
So yeah, we're doing pretty well here, actually.
Traffic is
Flight level 370.
flight level 270, Embraer
We've done an hour and 15 minutes of flying now, so far.
1006, traffic in sight.
Still haven't burned through all of our centre tank fuel, which I think is pretty amazing.
Climb and maintain 17,000.
That's lasted a while.
Climb and maintain
There's only £3,000 in there.
6117.
It's lasted ages. So again, the real life plane burns everything from the centre tank before moving on to the other two. Yeah, this plane doesn't do that. This plane definitely does not do that. Also, I don't get how the fuel pumps can be off during flight. But, you know, they make an annoying sound, so it's kind of good they have them off anyway. They make a really stupid sound. They really shouldn't make that sound, but they do. It's more noticeable than anything else in the entire plane.
Contact Bordeaux Center on
Well, I'm at Bordeaux Centre now.
375. 125.375, 205 Niner. Bordeaux Center 205 Niner, with you at flight level 370. 205 Niner, Bordeaux Center, roger.
Bordeaux Center, Air France 114 Niner with you.
Air France 7782, you are 85 miles north, turn left, heading 155, descend and maintain flight level 240, expect vectors ILS, runway 32, right, approach. Air France 1149, Bordeaux Center, roger.
$40 miles to Lapro now. 265 miles to Menorca, so not far. We're slowly chewing up these miles. 531 we've done now. So yeah, slowly chewing up these miles. I'm also interested. I'm almost actually an ATP first officer for Fly UK now. Just 14 hours more. From a Class A captain I am right now, so that's pretty good. Pretty good. That's at 300 hours with the airline. I've got 285.5 hours, so not bad. Not bad.
Level 331, Boeing 757, report them in sight. 4908, traffic is 1 o'clock, 2 miles, at flight level 360, Airbus A320, report them in sight. 2059, traffic
Oh,
is
what
3
traffic?
o'clock,
Wait, where is that?
level 35,
Oh!
Airbus A320, report them in
That's
sight.
way too close. Okay.
Traffic in sight.
That looks like that's an Air France.
4908,
That was an Air France though. How come it didn't get its call sign read out? That's definitely an Air France, so I don't know why it didn't have its call sign read out. I'll have a look to see which one it was. It wasn't this swarm, so it must have been this swarm. Yeah, it was this swarm. There's me, I think. So, yeah, that's a bit weird. Why it didn't get... It just said 4908. Oh, wait, that wasn't me. Oh, I never got a traffic alert. That's interesting. That's quite weird, actually. Yeah, we've still got some tank fuel left. It's just the last £100 hanging in there. So we won't be able to get to Menorca with some fuel still in the centre tank, but still. So 244 miles to Menorca. So it's always coming down, isn't it? Constantly. Probably descending, I don't know, when does the game reckon we're going to start descending? Just after a gainer. So between a gainer and Verso. There's not a massive gap between those waypoints. Oh! Traffic again, is it? They're only 900 feet below us. Where even are they? Where's this AI that we're talking about here? I have to say traffic in sight, otherwise it'll get crossed at me, but... Where is the contrail? I don't see the contrail anywhere. But okay. We're going over to Marseille Centre now.
523 with you.
Air France 7523, Bordeaux Center, Roger. 120.75 for 2059er. Air France 7523,
So yeah, Marseille Centre now.
59er with you, flight level 370.
2059er, Marseille Center, Roger.
So yeah, normally we'd be on to Barcelona Centre at this point, but today for some reason we're mostly flying over France. But we are going to make a right turn and cross into Spain. This is where it gets really beautiful now. This part of sort of southern France, like Nice, Marseille, Monaco, that kind of area, you know. Monaco's its own country, isn't it? But all along that southern part.
Contact Bordeaux Center on 121.25.
121.25, 46413.
We're down in Menorca. It's from 10 o'clock now. 240 at 7 knots. The QNH is still 29888. And the clouds are actually going up and up, actually. They're now a few at 1800. So when we started, it was a few at 1200. Then 1500, and now 1800. So clouds are constantly getting a bit higher. A bit of a sharp turn. No, that's not a sharp turn. I think it is, but okay. Yeah, so we'll be descending just after a gainer, probably. Somewhere like, so about 100 miles from here. You can see, if you look at a gainer, you're about 120 miles away, roughly. which will be about 100 miles out of Menorca, so I don't think that's quite accurate, but... So yeah, the descent is not, you know, not too far away now. See, we're suddenly turning right now. Quite a bit. Yeah, it's a very sharp turn, that. Maybe I could have avoided that waypoint, saved myself a bit of... saved myself a little bit of time. A little bit of miles, but never mind, I guess. Not the most typical of routes, this, I don't think, to get to Menorca from Cardiff, but... we are basically heading in the direction of Menorca now, though. We have to take a slightly weird route, I think. Mildly weird. What's that sound about? Ooh, sounds like an issue. Also, there's a Lufthansa A300. Do they operate A300s, like, from whenever this pack was? The pack's not that old, is it? It's quite an old aircraft, that. Got a Thomas Cook in the area. Rip Thomas Cook. Oh well. Oh well. Okay, I'm actually going to get clearance for descent, you know, not now, but probably quite soon. We're 210 miles to go. So yeah, we are getting quite close. We've flown 585 now miles. So we'll probably be descending, just after the gainer, I reckon. Saying that's if the flight plan given to us is accurate. I will just check actually against the flight plan how long this flight's actually taken. So we'll add on 3 minutes, then 1. So that's 4 minutes extra, 5 minutes extra, 6 minutes extra, 7 minutes extra, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. So 10 minutes extra so far, and that's because of the high cruising speed that we're not doing. So 10 minutes extra so far, so 1 hour and 49 minutes this flight's going to be, if we stick to what this is said, given, and plus obviously the slight extras that we've been doing, although it'll probably end up being slightly different to that by the time we get into Menorca, I think. Lots of waypoints in this next sort of 100-mile stretch. Quite a few. You can see that, you know, as we get closer to Menorca, of course. Closer and closer. 201 miles. So not far. So everyone who has worked today has enjoyed it.
Contact Orbo Center on 121.25. Lufthansa 4452. Heavy, left side center, roger. 121.25.
It's 10 miles to Papa Golf, which is a VOR. I don't exactly know what it means. I don't know the name of the VOR. That's the track of the place that you can see. Oh, pretty good. You can see at the moment we're doing a very low ground speed because of the wind. So, you know, the wind's not being the nicest to us, is it, really? But, oh well.
Lufthansa 4452. Heavy traffic. Level 330. Airbus A321. Report them inside. Lufthansa 4452. Heavy traffic alert. 10 o'clock. Less than 1 mile. Flight level 330.
according to, sorry, if we're descending at 1800 feet per minute then, our descent will be at Darlin, according to Active Sky, if you look here. A little bit of rain actually passing over Menorca and a few clouds, so I don't know, hopefully that rain is avoiding Menorca. We'll get rid of it actually so we can just see our route. So you can see that's our route there. You can see there's top of descent estimates. So, and we'll turn back on the warnings now. I'll leave the wind though. Leave the wind off for now. Actually, we'll turn it on. Why not? But you can see, yeah. So that's our route there. Top descent by Darlin, somewhere around there. So it's looking okay. So I don't know where we're going to be descending exactly. But I'll be able to use the Active Sky as a pretty good, like, sort of teller of what vertical speed I should be using for the descent. So as soon as they tell me to descend, I'm going to plug in the descent FPM, feet per minute, into Active Sky, because obviously, you know, they're playing like this, it's certainly a good idea to just stick at one set descent rate, really, isn't it? Yeah, our descent is definitely upon us soonish. We're actually now inbound to Canning, so only 178 miles. So the next, probably 30 to 50 miles, I'd expect to descend. We're now at centre tank fuel as well, so it's burning just tanks 1 and 2 now. If our fuel burn was accurate, we should be using up today 13,095 pounds of fuel. Remember, we started with 20,000, so I should have 7,300 left. So 7,300 divided by 2. Wait, that doesn't actually work this time because I had more than one tank. But yeah, we should be landing. We should land with 7,300 pounds of fuel. So yeah. So 7,300 divided by 2, it will work, is 3,650. So we should land with about 3,650 in each tank. So it looks like my fuel. I remember we did plug it into SimBrief, and SimBrief gave us a very similar number, only 200 kilos different, which is not that different at all. So we're on in Spanish airspace now then, finally. So they'll be the ones that tell us to descend, probably. As I said, somewhere between Darling and Verso. That's where I'm expecting to be given clearance to descend, somewhere around there. Active Sky basically Active Sky is saying we'll descend here, and FSX flight plan is saying we'll descend here. So somewhere between here and here, we'll probably descend. So not long now. Not long at all. Lots of planes in the area as well. We've got plenty of 757s. What on earth is this? I think that's like Swedish TUI. Yeah, but yeah, we have an awful lot. There's a Monarch there again. Rip Monarch. That's how old all my AI packs are, though. Seriously, they're all that old. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Scandinavian 1806, contact Alpha 20.75. Scandinavian 1806. Going to 120.75. Scandinavian 7844. Turn left heading 015, resume on navigation. Turn left heading 015, proceed on course 432. Contact Buffet Center on 1.
Yeah, I think we'll be descending probably, literally, so between 30, the next 30 and 50 miles we'll be descending, I think, so, probably we're going to be an hour and 31 minutes now, so, we'll be time for descent quite soon, won't it?
640 you are 54 miles.
So, but I'm expecting to get given an ILS, no, VOR runway 19.
Vector ILS, runway 25, right, approach, 8301, you are 55 miles north, turn left heading 160, expect vector ILS, runway 25.
Now, Menorca not being a very big airport, I'm expecting not to get held up by any of the planes. You can see there's plenty that must be spawning in, flying into Barcelona now. But yeah, so with big airports, obviously, as we saw in Manchester, plenty of them have to go around because of the stupidity of FSX's default ATC. They're not a good ATC. It's why I don't use them very often. Just use them as a one-off today. But yeah, so see, they're just doing all 4 of them at once. In fact, 5 of them at once. They must all be spawning in all at the same time. They just decide to do them all of them. Yeah, I've flown into the airspace of Barcelona's airport, so now I can see all of them, and I can also see this is an island. I think this might be Palma. Yeah, this is Palma Airport, I think. It's very nice scenery for Palma. I'm pretty sure it's Palma. No, it might be Barcelona. Yeah, it's Barcelona. This is 2 runways and then the 1 crossing. That's Barcelona. You can see Barcelona is very busy, full of Viewlings, Monarchs, Lufthansas. Quite busy. We're approaching BGR now, so not far to Darlin, which is our first suspect waypoint for descent. And then obviously our next suspect waypoint for descent is Againa. So it'll be somewhere between here and Verso now. So somewhere between now and the next 50 miles, we will be told, well, probably now, between now and the next 40 miles really, we are going to be descending, I think. We are only 135 miles from Menorca now, so it is perfect distance away to start a descent, but obviously, not, obviously we're not doing it just yet. We're not starting the descent just yet, so, and we are quite high. Remember, flight level 370 we're at. But remember, we are going to get vectors. I mean, obviously, if we're using runway 19 though, we're actually inbound Menorca on a course of 183, so it's pretty perfect for a runway 19 if we do get vectored. And because it's a VOR, any VOR or visual approach, the game vectors you much better than an ILS. An ILS, it always vectors you a lot further away from the airport. Particularly, I found at LaGuardia, I was flying in once, and it actually vectors me to 43 miles out of the airport to start the approach, and then I had to go around. It's like 43 miles. Like, yeah, right. 43 miles. But that's not accurate. It's silly. I mean, normally the longest ILS is normally, what, 15 miles tops? Very tops. You'll have to be waiting 15 miles between intercepting it and landing. Maybe 17, 18, but 43, no. But that's not a thing. That just isn't a thing. You can see we're approaching Darlin here, so if you look at, active sky, you can see we're literally just passing our top of the descent waypoint, and we haven't been cleared to. Oh, never mind, we have been cleared to descend. So clearly, flight level. So clearly, it's going to be a descent rate of 1,800 feet per minute now. So we go down. We go then at 1,800 feet per minute. I'm going to stay at for the moment, and I will modify it in the future if need be. So down we go. 1,800 feet per minute. We have 120 miles to go until Menorca. So there we go. We are finally descending. Taking our time, but there we go. We've flown a number of miles, and it is now time for our descent into Menorca. We've been cleared down to flight level 250. We haven't been cleared for an approach as of yet. We probably won't be until we get to about 80 miles out of the airport. Normally average to be given our approach, probably between 60 and 90 miles out, normally around 80. So, and that's direct to the airport, by the way. So you can see from we actually are pretty much heading direct to the airport, looking at our overlay. So down we go. Obviously 1800 feet per minute is not the quickest of descents in the world, but I've done slower. We're going to do 270 knots, so just keep increasing the speed until it hits 295 knots, which is where we'll level it out. Obviously as we descend, the speed we're doing does decrease, with altitude of course, so we'll just need to make sure that we back that up, keep making sure it's accurate. So yeah, 1800 feet per minute, as you can see, according to Active Sky, that was where we need to descend, and it was exactly where we got the call to descend. So obviously it was pretty accurate, wasn't it? I'm using there's a little thing on my yoke that is mapped to the camera, and it's actually quite hard to control. It's a bit weird. It's like a sort of spinny thing on my yoke. It's all right for controlling the camera. I like the spacebar though. I did watch a video about. I think you have to hold down the right mouse button to move the camera in the new sim. If I can, I'm going to map that to the spacebar. Because I do actually, it's one thing I love about this sim. Moving the camera with a spacebar, not many games do that, and I think it's a really good idea. You press space and then you move the mouse. Actually, I probably won't be able to do that with the game then, will I? Because it's 2 axes, I forgot that. It's mouse and space, not just the space key. So I probably won't be able to do that, but I'm going to map 295 knots here. Which was a little too quick for the altitude we're at, but by the time we get there, it'll be alright. Of course, as we get lower and lower, the speed we're allowed to do changes. So it's alright. Plenty of planes in the area. That will probably go. I don't know whether we'll be out of range, actually. We may be out of range by the time we reach Menorca at Barcelona, but we might not be. So it will depend on that. You see there, 295 knots is now an acceptable speed that we can do. So just descending down that, we've already descended a good few thousand feet. 98 miles to Menorca now, so this flight has gone pretty quickly actually, despite being in a default plane. They're not as taxing to fly though. There's not as much to do, is there, in this plane? Realistically, again, no water brakes because they're annoying. We're going to go ahead and use just little bits of manual braking, which is what I was doing yesterday. Just little taps of manual braking, because generally, obviously, we only got to do the one landing yesterday because of me accidentally braking Pro ATC. Yeah, that wasn't good. That's the last time I ever request direct to an ILS when it's cruise at the start of a flight on Pro ATC X, because clearly it does mess up the game a little bit. Clearly, however, without it, I would never have reached cruise altitude. So overall, I think it's just bad flight planning from Pro ATC's end, really. But as I said, that sim does beat Pro ATC and this all the way. Like, I'll go that sim all the way on this. The only reason I'm doing this week, remember, it's meant to be the final week of FSX, but thinking back on it, it hasn't actually gone that well. I mean, Wednesday the game crashed, and then Navigraph charts crashed. Thursday went okay, but then Friday the game was freezing every 10 minutes, and we had the duplicated AI that I had to sort out. And then yesterday I broke Pro ATC. So far today, touch wood, it's been okay. But yeah. Remember as well, we have to get to a certain altitude before they'll clear us to the next one. Now, in terms of descent, if they make us sit at 250 for a while, which they can sometimes do, the reasoning is that we may, basically it's because we may be slightly too low, so they'll just hold us there for a little bit. But normally, considering that we have stuck with the usual 1800 feet per minute, the game should be alright with it. You can see we're pretty close now to Menorca. In real life, Sargo is actually the start of a star in Menorca, so we're only 79 miles away from the airport now as well, 78 miles, so that does mean that we should be given our approach pretty soon, being only 70 miles out now, but not yet, obviously, clearly. Our contrail's now gone, despite it being, it's because it's so warm, that's why it's gone. Yeah, it's very warm. We have had some new weather. No, we haven't yet. Remember, transition altitude is 1800 feet. no, 18,000 feet, I mean, here in FSX, despite the real life procedures being different. That's that.
148, have the Airbus A319 in sight.
Hopefully they'll clear us down below flight level 250. If you go past 250, though, they won't clear you. Below it, they'll freak out and tell you to climb. So that's kind of the one danger of setting a lower altitude, but they should be alright, the ATC, because you know, as long as they're not interrupted at the moment I need descent clearance. Again, this is the problem. In real life, they would tell you to go higher or lower, about 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet before you actually reached it, but obviously FSX does it 200 feet before that, before you reach it, so it's not really accurate. 13,000 you can see there. Well, they didn't tell us the QNH, which they should have. Whatever. Just need me to press the B key. Why not? Actually, they still haven't told me my approach though, like the ATC. They're leaving it a bit late now. 68 miles. I wonder if I'm a little bit too high. I don't know. I think I'm okay in terms of the height I'm at currently. I'll reference Navigraph. No, not Navigraph. Sorry. Active Sky, which was the thing that told me when to descend. Actually, we're meant to be passing Sargo at 14,600 and Verso at 25,000. So 14,600 by Sargo. We need to be reaching roughly 3 minutes. So that's roughly, we can probably descend in 3 minutes, about 6,000 feet. Okay, we'll probably be slightly too high at Sargo, but not that much. And remember, we are going to get vectored around the place, so it will even itself out eventually. But yeah, maybe 1,800 feet per minute. Maybe we need to do a little bit more than 1,800 feet per minute. I think I've discovered why this plane for some reason is only doing 1,700 feet per minute. Okay. Okay, so it appears that this plane wants to do 1,000 foot per minute less than what I tell it to. That's interesting. So all this entire time, we've been going... Okay, well, I'll set 1,900 feet per minute. Let's go 2,000 foot per minute. I think that'll be nice. It's quite easy to work out then, if you know, calculations for descent then. That'll end at like too low now. It's better being too low than too high, I guess, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Oh, runway 1. What? Okay, 1,800 feet per minute then. What? I did not expect a runway 1. Why are they using runway 1? That's not normal. The weather does not agree with that, but okay. I guess they're prioritising the ILS. So that's what we're going to have now then. So I'm going to go into the flight plan. We're going to go, so I guess they want us to do an ILS, don't they? It's going to be the vectors. Activate, and you can now see that's where they're vectoring us to, look, so it's going to be a bit of a longer flight now than initially planned, sadly, thanks to the ATC there. They're going to be vectoring us pretty stupidly as well. Unfortunately, they'll probably get us to go way past the ILS, like further than I'd want. But again, that's this game for you. So I'm going to go back to 1,000 foot per minute now, increase our speed a touch, and just allow us to do a bit more of a normal arrival, because this I don't know why they've given us an ILS. We've got a frequency to tune now, which is 110.3. I don't know what the course is though. That's one thing I wish I knew, that I can't actually see from this. I don't believe. I suppose it tells me, does it? What the course of the ILS is on here? Because I'd rather not look at ILS charts. I'm not using charts today. But it doesn't appear they're telling us, so it's kind of silly. Can I view the runway course, actually? Looking at this. This might be a little hint. It tells us the track, look. Okay, 010. Exactly 010, runway 01. So it's... So the... Well, I don't know why terrain was not ticked there. So 010 is the course, exactly, apparently. So we'll set that in there. And that means we should get ILS now. Should get ILS coverage. 7 minutes this thing, so it'll take us to get to the ILS. It'll take us longer than that, I can guarantee that. Unfortunately, that's how it is now. We have to sort of get vectored stupidly around the place now. We're going to be... Basically, we're going to be sent way past the airport like that. They're probably going to get a left turn shortly, and then it'll be another left turn onto the ILS then, a little bit later on.
Turn left heading 18520.
But it's not what I like. I don't know. Unfortunately, the vectoring is not the best. It does a good job of the vectoring, but it makes the flight longer than it kind of should be if you were actually taking this approach. That's kind of what it does. But whatever. I'm keeping my speed up as much as I can and trying to descend. I've only seen one plane so far that was given the ILS 101 at the same time as us. Oh, massive lag. I'm guessing it's loading in Palma maybe or something. Whatever it is, there's an awful lot of planes in the area. Like 24 right, that's Menorca, runway 24s. So that's what's happened. That's what that lag was. It's clearly just loaded in Menorca. I think this is Mallorca. I think this is Menorca. Here, this airport here that this Thompson's on the ground at. So it's not that busy in Menorca. Menorca's not a very big airport really. Palma, Menorca is quite quiet. Mallorca, quite busy. Mallorca's a massive airport. I said I've been to Mallorca I think twice. I've never been to Menorca though. It drives me nuts they have such similar names. They just have to have really similar names. It gets confusing when talking about them. Menorca, Mallorca. And then you have Ibiza in there as well, because why not? Known as the Balearic Islands. May as well just call them that. Balearic Islands, rather than their 3 different names. So then for a plane, you need to know exactly where you're flying. And holiday makers need to know exactly where they're going, so... Can't just say a holiday to the Balearics and then you just end up anywhere on those 3 islands. I think is there more than 3 islands? Like, I know there's only 3 main ones, but there are more than 3 in the actual thing itself. It looks like there might be one there. Who knows? I don't know enough about that. But you see, there you go. We're probably going to get given a left turn, basically, about, well, here. If that was on the GPS, like, way too far from the ILS, but that's how this game plays it. You can see right now we're doing a pretty good descent, actually, about a nice steady descent. I'm going to turn down the speed, actually, a little bit now. I'm going to get the seatbelt signs on now as well, passing 15,000 feet. We've only been cleared down to 13,000 at the moment. But this will let the plane sort of ease off, basically. You need to give it give it a little bit of speed brake. However, that does mean that it's going to get very cross with us, the throttle, and we'll end up going quicker than I need to. So in the end, we've only actually lost 10 knots, when I wanted to lose a bit more than that, but never mind. We're approaching 13,000 now, so I need to go a little bit lower. So there's a few clouds around here, but not too bad, actually. I'm going to set 2,000 foot per minute now, I think. Actually, no, I can get away with a little bit less than that. Let's go 1,700 feet per minute. And so yeah, 3772 is actually a plane that is currently landing there at Menorca. You can see we've been cleared down to 2,000, which is the ILS altitude.
3772, turn left heading 130. Descend and maintain 2,000, 2059er.
I imagine quite soon we'll be handed off to approach. Oh, another left turn.
155. Turn left.
I think that's to get us closer to the ILS, basically, that is. So that we don't have to turn left quite as much when we do get close to it, I think. I think that's what that is. Quite nice in a way, I guess. Right, we're coming up on 10,000 now, which is where we have to slow down, of course.
2059er. Turn right.
Oh, there you go. They're getting us back on 185 now, anyway.
Turn left heading 100. 3772. Turn right heading 185. 2059er.
So you can see we're just going about the place now. Right, down to 240 knots on here.
Contact Menorca approach at 119er.
Menorca. See, that one's going on to Menorca now. For them to deal with it.
3772.
So you can see now the plane's gone idle as it tries to slow down, and it is actually doing a pretty good job of slowing down. So, not too bad, I guess. Obviously, that's because we've stayed at the current vertical speed, so this thing's just done the best with what it can. So in a way, this auto basically works best by not interfering with it, like not putting in, not decreasing the vertical speed like you would normally, not putting out the speed brakes like you would normally. It just manages to slow down like that. Just in a way, a little bit strange, but yeah, it's okay. So you can see we're about 20 miles from the ILS look, so they'll probably tell us to turn left when we pass it, and then get us onto it. But you can see we're still 20 miles away from it, so it's not exactly like we're close to it, but yeah. But yeah, there's the island of Menorca. Look, we're going through the clouds as well. Hour and 52 minutes into the flight so far. It's meant to be 2 hours and 1 minute according to SimBrief, and 2 hours and 14 minutes according to Fuel Planner. However, Fuel Planner is never accurate, because it doesn't know what the winds are, it doesn't know what payload you have on board. It's just a rough estimate of fuel, really. It's quite good if you're just doing a flight like this, where, you know, you'll easily have enough fuel. Yeah, it does easily plan the fuel. Just took off my headphones briefly there, which is why my voice probably went a bit quiet. So you can see we're getting closer and closer, but we're still 22 miles off, look. So I'm just going to go 1,000 foot per minute now at this speed. It may need to go. So we can see we're going through the clouds here. Actually, it's quite nice with the ocean and everything, descending, you know, through the Menorca clouds. You see there, we're 21 miles away. I'm going to get nav on here now, which is the ILS, of course. You can see we're just ascending now, down, and there should be a left turn about now. So in real life, they'd give us a left turn about now, yeah? In the game, however, they wait until the very sort of last moment. It's really annoying. It does annoy me quite a lot, but unfortunately, that's what you've got to work with. So they'll probably tell me to turn left way after this. And it hasn't just occurred to me, we are still on Barcelona Centre, actually. I don't really know why, and really we should be on an approach frequency by now. Actually, we should be on, they never told me what the altimeter is, but yeah, I should have switched to that by now. I just did then. So that's okay. 2989 apparently. Weirdly, I just passed 2 hours into the flight. I guess it's because of the altitude amount. Skytrack didn't tell me to switch any comms over. That's because I'm like below 10,000 or something. Or like below 250 knots. There must be a reason. Or because I'm like a certain amount close to Menorca. But you can see, look, in real life, I'd be given a left turn about now, yeah? However, in this, you can see that I'm just doing 1,000 foot per minute descent right now. I'm not really able to even do anything. It's kind of quite silly. I would just like a left turn like now, ideally. Perfect for a left turn. But no. Yeah, literally now. Now will be perfect for a left turn. So when it's about the end of the AILS, look. And that's what they do in real life. But they don't do that in this, so it's quite silly, really. Quite silly. This is the problem with the 4 ATC, though, honestly. And I'm just ascending slowly down to 2,000 now. There you go. Now, there's the left turn. It was probably a bit delayed by that citation, just talking. Unfortunately, but there you go. So you can see now, but we're still 22 miles away. Like, that's kind of the problem. Like, it's going to take us 5 minutes to get there. So by then, we'll be at 2,000, just sitting there. It's really silly. I'm just gonna ease off on our descent rate loads, in the hope that, because you can see that we're still 20. We're quite far away. We're 22 miles off the ILS and 25 DME from the ILS, from the actual airport itself. So it is kind of quite silly in a way. But I'm going to slow down to 230 knots now.
Level 350.
Bring in flaps 2 as well.
Climb and maintain flight level 350.
So I'll get ready for landing, basically. And we're just descending very slowly. You can see, look, still, we're getting further away from the airport, really. Well, I think we are getting a bit closer, actually, now.
059er.
So there you go, they're giving us a left turn now, a bit closer towards the ILS, that's better.
Turn left, heading 100-205-9er.
You see, look, we're still 23 miles out from the airport. That's kind of the problem with how this game does approaches. Like 23 miles. Normally, this ILS is a lot less than that amount out of the airport.
Please expedite your
What is it? Oh,
2000.
they're probably quite cross. They probably think I'm not descending because I'm doing. I think if you do under like less than 800 feet per minute, I think the game thinks you're not even descending. So we'll just start descending now. So we're getting close to Menorca now. 21 miles. And we'll go flaps 5 now as well. Okay. And there you go. Now on Menorca approach, we're gonna hand it off to. And I'm not exactly sure why Menorca approach's like airspace is so small. I think it should be a little bit less small than that. Wait, is that a private Boeing business jet there? Yep. That's crazy. Ultimate is 2989. See, now we're less than 20 miles away. I can actually see the glide slope and everything and the localizer. That's really cool. We will get cleared onto the ILS and things at some point, but we still haven't been. Despite only actually being 19 miles out from the airport now, so it's not too bad now, really. 19 miles out. But you can see, look, we've reached 2,000 feet a little bit too early for my liking. So that's this game for you. Anyway, flaps 10 now as well. I think we're giving a left turn here, really. Obviously, we can't actually see our ILS on there, so there you go, left heading 040.
2500.
Now we've been cleared on the approach. And we've been told to descend and maintain 1,600. So we're far too low. That's kind of obvious, isn't it, really? That we're far too low. But we're just going to do 500 feet per minute now, I think. We'll go to 180 knots now. And unlike the real life plane, this thing does actually let you set flaps 15 before it starts yelling at you. I think it starts yelling at you at flaps 25 this plane. And you can see 17 miles away now from Menorca. So we're still quite far away. We'll tune the tower now.
Menorca Tower 20.
No, we're 16 miles away, not 18, but okay.
Inbound ILS, runway 1, approach 205.
See, we're getting a warning there saying below glide slope, which we are. But hopefully this thing is now. We should be starting to follow the localizer at some point soon. But we've been told to fly straight in. You can see at the moment we're still descending down to 1,600 feet. We're far too low, obviously. That's certain that we're too low. But we're just waiting for the glide slope at the moment and the localizer, which we can't see either of.
Menorca departure on 119.65.
But you see there, we have now reached 1,600 feet, so this thing has to level off now. So this flight was meant to be 795 miles. We've already flown 825, like. They've added like 40-50 miles on to our flight by doing this. You can see there's 1,600 feet, a little bit too early really, and we should start to insert the localizer very soon. However, not yet, clearly. And then obviously the glide slope after that, but again we're still waiting. Everything's all set up for landing though. Also, I can't turn on the runway turn-offs because the they don't work. Sadly. Suppose I haven't got the localizer yet, though. We're not far from the airport now, so we should be getting that. Maybe I slowed down slightly too early. There's the airport, though. You can see how low we are. We're clearly too low. But not that seems to bother the game. Obviously. They're the ones who told us to descend like that, so... So you see, we're only a mile and a half off the course now. And it is, we're slowly reeling it in. 66 miles now, so just 6 miles from the first waypoint on the ILS, and the only waypoint. Goes straight to the runway then. But we should see it popping up on our screen pretty soon now to intercept. And then the glide slope should fall a little bit later. So you can see we're now turning to the left slightly as we start to get the localizer. You can see this now doesn't display anything, which technically it really shouldn't be. It should say it's on the localizer, but it doesn't. So this thing's going to start to turn left now. Still 8 miles out though. You can see there's the localizer, look, coming in now. So this thing will start to follow that. Hang on a minute, are there 2 airports that are like right next to each other? What's that about? There's one there, look, and then one there. They're a bit close together. I thought we were landing there. Wow, why are they so close together, those airports? That's quite weird, actually. LESL. Yeah, I don't know why there's an airport that's that close, but okay. This thing's actually done a slight mess of intercepting it then. I thought we were flying over there and it was doing it okay. We've been cleared to land. We're obviously close enough to get cleared to land. There's a few planes on the ground. You can see there's a Vueling, an EasyJet, and a Thompson, so not a massive amount. Still waiting for our descent clearance. We still need to descend further. Drop the gear now and drop it to final approach speed now, which is at 140 knots. So we'll start to slow down. And the gear is now down, so we can go flat to full for landing. So there we go. That is us. And there you go, it's actually got the glide slope now as well. So we are perfect. Ready to land. So we can go ahead and take out the autopilot. And we can take out the auto throttle as well. And we're ready for landing. We just need to follow the glide slope and everything. Hopefully we can get a nice good landing in there. Fingers crossed. But we are ready for landing, so that's good.
1,000.
There's 1,000 feet. This flight hasn't felt quite that long, actually. All here landing. We'll go a bit more power, actually. Going a little bit slowly. Trim it up a little bit.
Minimums 500.
So yeah, we're all good now. Approaching the runway. We're a little bit high, actually.
100. 50. 40.
And idle
30.
power. Why is it
20,
with the duplicated
10,
DPWS call outs? I did it yesterday too. Oh, minus 309, not bad. And ease the plane down. And reverses it out. And we'll start pressing the brakes as well. And reverses in. We'll just make the exit here, I think. If we press the brakes hard enough, there we go. Hello and welcome everybody to Menorca. There we go. And over to ground. Right, landing lights off, taxi lights on. Hello and welcome everyone to Menorca. Flight time 2 hours and 6 minutes. That's pretty good. Right, over to ground then.
Menorca.
And request taxi to the gate.
059er, request taxi to the gate.
We've been given gate 7, G7.
Taxiway to Go Foxtrot. Taxiing to gate Golf 7.
There we go, and there's our progressive taxi lines, and there we go. That is it. We're going to be taxiing next, parking next to that EasyJet, I think. So yeah, it's not the busiest on the ground here right now, but not too bad. Yeah, that was pretty good landing actually, minus 309, not bad for this plane. But yeah, hello and welcome everyone to Menorca after 2 hours and 6 minutes of flying. And we've landed with fuel than we expected as well, so that's perfect. Awesome. We'll untune the ILS as well so that those lines go away. There we go. But there we go, pretty good landing now. That was pretty good. And yeah, we're going to park next to that EasyJet. Well, not next. Actually, is it next to? I think it's next to the EasyJet. Yeah, it is. Nice. Right turn in, and there you go. That is it. 2 hours and 6 minutes, and that is my last stream on FSX, I think. Remember, no streams next week, as I am going to be testing out and getting ready the new flight simulator. Remember, I've got 150 gigs worth of stuff to install, and then obviously set up all my settings, discover what's in the game, see how it runs on my computer, test how it records. From what I've seen from some YouTubers so far, they have said that apparently it doesn't work with OBS that well. Hopefully that'll be fixed, obviously. You know, obviously they're from a preview build, some of the YouTubers, and they've had to use other softwares, basically. It's been stuttering on OBS randomly, so hopefully either that's been fixed by the end, by the time I use it, or I guess we'll just have to live with it. We'll go ahead and turn off the engines now. Pretty good parking, actually. We're going to get a little dance from GSX on our last ever stream. Come on, GSX, dance. It was good parking, look at that. Perfect. No? No, not even any comment on our parking, really? No? Oh well. Oh well. Why have they brought that thing? Okay, that's a bit weird. Whoa! I wonder what Shift E4 did. It actually... Shift E4 is the air stairs. Didn't know this thing had air stairs. There we go. Okay, hello and welcome everyone then to Menorca. Pretty fun little flight that. I don't know, GSX doesn't give us any congratulations on the landing, but no, not the landing, the parking. Perfect as it was. Oh well, we flew 840 miles in the end, so not bad. Not bad. Not many planes in the area in the end. I guess we weren't in the air in the right area, were we? Got a yeah, Thompson, a Vueling, and an EasyJet on the ground here. So there we go, I'll just head outside, and there we go, that is it from me. Bring on to the end screen now. Hope everyone really enjoyed that flight. That is the last stream on FSX. Final week of FSX has come to an end, and apart from, I don't know, Thursday went pretty well, and today went pretty well. All the other streams didn't actually go that well. But never mind, we'll just ignore that. I hope everyone did really enjoy watching FSX on this channel. But the new sim is coming. It's going to be releasing in just a few days. Tuesday, I can't wait. I'm going to be installing it. It's probably going to take hours and hours to install, as it is, as I said, it is 150 gigabytes is how much they recommend you have of space on your computer. So it's probably going to be somewhere in the region of 120 to 145 gigs. Depends on how much they recommend you have left on your hard drive after installing it. But at the moment, I can't yet install it, unfortunately, but never mind. But yeah, this is can't wait for this game, and then on the 20th as well, I've got Train Sim World 2 coming out. So there's some pretty fun, pretty fun games coming soon. So should be good. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. But anyway, that is it from me. I hope everyone really enjoyed watching this, and I will see you in the next one. I will leave you with background music, and yeah, see you. Well, not next week, not streaming next week. Remember, I'll see you in the next one, which will be in a week and a half at least. And bye.